Good morning once again, and thanks for waking up to Sunrise at Sea. My name is Kierna Tozer, and if you're just joining us here on CTV, you're just in time for our views. Now, we have another dilemma today to actually discuss, and that's in the line of prejudice. For those who don't know what prejudice is, I'll dive into that later. However, let's dive into the story of someone or a letter that actually somebody wrote to us. And it will be running on your screen, and it comes by saying, Hi CTV Sunrise, I've been dating this girl for a year now and decided to introduce her to my parents. She is very loving, caring, understanding, respectful. However, there is just one problem. My parents don't like her, and when I ask why, they say they don't like the fact that she has dreadlocks and tattoos. They have asked me to leave her, and she is not good for me. Please advise, what should I do? So ladies, I want us to just dive into this and give this gentleman advice. This is in the line of prejudice. And for those who don't know what prejudice is a premature judgment, having any image and expectation of someone. And this is something that, or should I say, I can relate it to bias, when you actually have bias about something or a certain group of people. And for those who don't know, you can actually be a person who is prejudiced, in the line of a group of people, you can actually be able to judge people subconsciously and consciously, So many of us actually have this trait and may not actually have realized. So ladies, what do you think this gentleman should do? Should he leave the lady just because the parents say she has a certain kind of look that doesn't appeal to them?
It's up to him.
It's up to him,
really, because is he planning to be with her long term? At the end of the day, who you choose is up to you. It's not about your parents. You're not going to live in your house with your parents. Besides, he found her like that. He dated her. It didn't seem to bother him. So
if it's a long-term relationship, then
let me ask, does having dreadlocks or tattoos make you any different from you and I? I don't see a big deal with, well, it depends. Again, it goes back to culture and religion. I wouldn't have an issue with dreadlocks and tattoos because it doesn't make you less of a human being. It doesn't make you less of a person. Are you going for what is on the outside, or are you going for who the person truly is? I mean, the guy has mentioned himself that the woman cares and truly loves him. So is he willing to trade the love the woman has for her with her outer appearance? Again, it goes back to the man. What appeals to you? So for the parents, clearly what appeals to them is the outer appearance. And that's the thing. What happens when I get a man who looks good on the outside, but on the inside he's mistreating me? So you're better off going with someone who is actually a lover and a caregiver, which is what the woman is. So for me, dreadlocks and tattoos, I wouldn't say are such a big deal for me, though in my culture and family it is forbidden, but I mean, times are changing. So I have to live with the world. Times are changing, guys.
Sarah, what do you think when it comes to premature?
If he should leave her because his parents disapprove?
No, the underlying issue here is prejudgment. Prejudice is basically judging someone based on their appearance, your first instinct when you see someone. And given the fact that he introduced this girl to his parents, and the first thing they saw is, oh, she has dreadlocks. We all know when you introduce someone or when you see someone with dreadlocks, the first thing you think is either they do drugs or they're crazy. Like, there's a perception and a stereotype when it comes to people with dreadlocks and tattoos. So what do you think this gentleman should do? Or if you introduce someone to your family that they don't approve, what do you have to say?
What would this is the thing. First of all, does she do drugs?
Maybe.
See, because with every kind of prejudice and any misconception, there sometimes is there's a baseline from which it is coming from. Do you understand what I mean? So I think in this point he just needs to have, as opposed to just saying, on my parents have said this and let me just either choose to rebel against them or choose to go by their by what it is that they have requested. How about he works out a situation where they actually get to know her?
Yes.
Do you understand what I mean? Because based by your letter, or his letter rather, I don't think he has created an atmosphere where his parents can get to know her.
Yes, yes.
And if the dreadlocks and the tattoos are such a problem with them, perhaps, that's why I say you are an ambassador for your spouse in your home. Okay, so if he knew that at his home his mother or his father has a problem with his partner or people having dreadlocks and tattoos, how about he would have asked her, how about cover them up?
Why?
Yes.
No.
Yes. Yes.
No. Listen, this is the thing. The saying, when in Rome, do what the Romans do, right?
Yeah.
If you come into my home, and for me, it is culturally wrong to have dreadlocks, or culturally wrong to have tattoos, or religiously speaking, it's not allowed in my religion or type of way. Perhaps we can come to a compromise that when you're in my space, cover up.
But the tattoos will still be there.
They will, but I'm not seeing them.
Yes.
So in other words, you're being a pretender. You're being
No, you're not
you're
being a
literally
pretender.
pretending in front of other people.
No, you're being
because you have
respectful.
what
You're
if
being
their issue,
respectful.
because from what I'm reading, their issue is that the girl has tattoos. It's not the issue of whether they are covered or not. The girl has tattoos.
Yeah.
This is
What
what-
if you have the tattoo on the
Shivan,
forehead?
This is
Hold
How
on.
are you going to cover
Shivan,
it?
Shivan, hold
listen,
on.
I am saying come to a compromise. She doesn't have to go and
Because at the end of this, a
surgically
tattoo
remove
is
her
you can't
tattoos.
remove it.
But perhaps
It
she can
depends on
cover
the
up. This
tattoo.
is why I'm saying create an atmosphere where your parents can get to know this
other
lady
person,
and
yes.
get to know her for who she is rather than just the outer
outer
shell.
yeah.
Perhaps her tattoos are representation of something and they are important to her.
Yeah.
Maybe her tattoos have meaning. Maybe she has lost loved ones and she's honoring them by, you know, tattooing their pictures or their names on her body.
Yeah.
Find a compromise
Yeah.
where you respect one another and you don't have to change, because covering up is not too much to ask for. Say for instance, if you invited me to your house, you're in a Muslim,
Yeah.
you're a Muslim, right?
Yes.
And I come in a short dress or a short skirt.
Obviously, they're going to judge you, and that's what we're actually talking about.
So
the whole
come to a
prejudice bit
compromise.
of it, yes.
When you get into a space where people have certain values, especially when you enter somebody's personal space, then respect that. So
Yeah.
if the parents have a problem with her having tattoos, it is the son's responsibility
to make
to
sure.
to be the mediator to find a compromise so that he doesn't lose out on a wonderful woman
Yeah.
just because her parents don't approve because of the way she chooses to style her hair.
Yes. Boom. There you have it. Now, I'm going to be telling you some of the leading causes, one of the leading causes as to why people tend to have prejudice. And this is a person's upbringing may cause them to become prejudiced, yeah? If parents have prejudice of their own, there is a chance that these opinions will be passed on to the next generation. And one bad experience with a person from a particular group can cause a person to think of all people from that group in the same way. Yes. Now, for instance, if you've been raised, not for me, for instance, you've been raised in a family whereby head wraps, you know, you have to be dressed decent. If you come in my family, or if I go in another family, obviously the first perception I'll be like, she's wearing such a short dress, yeah. So I want to ask you, ladies, have you experienced any kind of prejudice, workplace, family, friends, even person who has met you for the first time? What kind of prejudice, what kind of judgment or assumption people have actually had about you for the very first time that was actually not true?
That I'm not smart.
That's what I was just about to say.
That I'm
you
not
said a thing.
smart. And it's a preconceived notion that people have with a lot of light-skinned ladies. They say, oh, because she's light-skinned, she's dumb. She's
Yeah.
not smart. A time I hosted an event, and after the event, this gentleman had the nerve to walk up to me, to my face, and said, oh, you're actually smarter than you look. I'm like, excuse me, sir. Anyway, long story short, I did go and cry in the bathroom. But that is always the preconceived notion that I get quite a lot. Also, people think that I am mean. Yes. People think I am unapproachable, but I'm such a darling.
Sarah, shall we tell that truth?
Siobhan, any experience, if either to you or, I know you may not tell me the people you've actually judged. You may have looked at me. I'm actually going to ask you what your first thought was when you first met me. But besides, let me first tell me, what are some of the experiences that you've actually had when it comes to prejudgment?
I cannot think of one offhand right now because the few times that I have been judged actually turns out right because I don't know. But anyway, one thing I must say is that when it comes to I need to point this out. First of all, guys, we don't have lenses. You know this thing of, or I'm a nice person, or I can do this and this, or I dress nicely. When I meet you for the first time, when I looked at you, for example, Kira, and I saw you for the first time, my thing was like, oh, okay. She has a head wrap. She has an accent. I don't think she's going to be an easy person. But you can't judge me for having that sort of misconception about you. Why? Because my eyes don't have lenses to see the inner you. You can't. So until I got to know you better is when I realized that, okay, hey, guess what? There's actually something more to Kira than actually what meets the eye. So it's up to you to take up the challenge. For example, if you're walking up to a job interview and you do not want to be seen a certain way, for example, you're going for a job interview, your boobs are out, your thighs are out, you're looking a certain type of way, you have makeup that speaks volumes, what do you think the HR is going to think of you? Of course, she's going to have a misconception about the kind of person you are. How about you dress it down, you tone it down, you look the part, so that actually when you walk in, the idea they have of you is exactly the kind of person that you are. Sometimes we cause people to think about us in a certain way, be the way we dress, or the way we behave, or the way we carry ourselves. So it's up to you. Again, you are your own ambassador. If you want people to think or speak good about you, carry yourself and act accordingly.
But just to wrap up on that, you're saying it's up to you, yeah? But there's the different forms of prejudice, and that comes to racism, yeah? That comes to your sexuality, yeah? That comes to age, class, all these are different kinds of prejudice. And so when you say it's entirely up to you, no one actually chooses to have the race. No one wakes up to say that, you know what, I'm going to be white, I'm going to be black, I'm going to sound this kind of way. But at the end of the day, people are still going to judge you, yeah? So Sandra, yeah? What are some of the experiences when it comes to prejudice or prejudgment? Have you judged someone, or what's the first perception people had about you?
I think I don't tend to judge people, especially like you said with the race thing, because
you have to take that back.
Yeah, racism
I think everyone
faces.
subconsciously and cautiously does have prejudgment.
So I think for me, because I come from different races, I don't tend to look at people that way, like colorism or things like that. I don't tend to. I see past that, because I have felt that for a very long time. I'd be coming into the country and they're asking me where I got my passport. Yeah. I'm like, but I'm a Ugandan. How is a Ugandan supposed to look like? Are you supposed to look a certain way?
Yes.
Yeah. Or in school, yeah, like Sarah said, in school, you get the good grades and they're asking you how you got them. But other people got them as well because of you look a certain way, or you don't know how to cook as well. That was very, like, you don't know your way about the kitchen. People be like, oh, you just know how to make an egg. Like, why?
And cook burnt water.
So it's just like those little things here and there that actually over time you don't tend to notice them. Yes. They become like, you become very used to them. Yeah, that you think it's okay.
Yeah, it's a normal thing.
But see, this is the thing. Why is it up to me to convince you to like me?
Exactly.
This is the thing. No, because Shivan said you have to tone it down. You have to be a certain type of way to convince somebody that, listen, honey, I am not intimidating. You're intimidated.
Yes.
Yep. Why are you coming at me with your insecurities and your preconceived notions of who I am even before I open my mouth? Yeah, that is on you.
But it is
no.
But you see,
you need to ask yourself, why am I feeling this way about this person? I haven't even said a word to that person. Exactly. Why am I feeling this way? It's up to you to convince yourself and change your mind and say, perhaps.
It's a me problem.
Maybe it's a me problem.
Yeah.
And let me give you a chance to, speak up. Because I'm not one to judge people. However, after I get to know somebody and they act a certain type of way, then I want to know why exactly are you this way? That's the kind of person I'm very curious in people. I'm like, why are you this way? Why do you think like that? Like, you honestly believe that? Please, humor me. Let's have some tea. And you explain to me why you are this way. Because I want to understand. But the thing is, people need to, you take it upon yourself. Why am I feeling this way about a certain type of person? Because of their race, because of how they speak, because of how they choose to eat their food, because of how they choose to dress. We just came from a conversation of don't judge people because they have tattoos and dreadlocks, and now we are having a conversation of it's my responsibility to tone it down to make you comfortable.
Yeah.
You're the problem.
You're the problem.
Honey, you are the problem.
Well, with me, one of the things affects a lot, you know, what people think of me the very first time. One, they always think I'm a very mean person. Like, I'm very unapproachable, very rude. And I know. And for some reason, even in school, like, every time I used to walk around and people like, you're so unapproachable, you know. And then someone even told me, I just don't like you. It's later, yeah?
It's just a natural feeling.
It's later, she's like, oh, by the way, the very first time I met you, I didn't like you. And I'm like, why?
What changed?
Like, I don't know, I just didn't like you, you know. But, you know, getting to know you, you're actually good people, you're this and that. So, guys, it's a you problem. Like, before we actually judge people, I know it's something that we can't control. You know, we can't actually stop, but we can actually try to control this. So I want to ask you, ladies, what do you think are some of the ways that we can actually reduce prejudice in society?
I think by living your truth. You don't need to tone yourself down or to dim your lights because it's shining in someone's eyes. Like, it's up to them. They should go get shades if they cannot handle
and block out the light.
That sounds like a personal problem. It's not my problem.
Yes.
I think people should live their truth and not conform to other people's ideologies of who they should be or how they should live their life. As long as you're not hurting anyone and you're doing your thing, do your thing.
Yes,
if you want to go and tattoo your whole body, go and do
ahead.
it. It's up to you. If you want your hair to be blue,
And
knock yourself
brown
out.
and yellow.
Yeah, I think we should do that because we should stop tiptoeing around people because they might not like this or they might not like that. We should stop tiptoeing.
Yeah.
And if we just put it right out there, then people would have to deal with it sooner or later.
Yes. Shivan, what do you have to say?
For me, mine would be, let's learn to just be kind and accept people the way they are. I do not choose to be born a certain way. I do not choose to be brown or black or dark blue or whatever color or green. I don't choose the kind of race I get out from. I don't choose the tribe. I was just brought onto this earth and it just happened. I did not choose it. So we should learn to accept people for who they are and what they are and stop making a big deal about something that someone cannot change, especially when it comes to things like race, things like tribe, things like skin color, because that is your body type. That is who you are. You cannot change it. So for me, it's about just accepting people the way they are.
Last word from you, Sarah.
2 things. Number 1, deal with your traumas. Usually we have prejudice over people or certain groups of people in society because of traumas that we have faced.
Yeah.
You could have prejudice against men because you probably saw your father beat your mother.
Yeah.
You could have prejudice against someone from a particular race because someone in your childhood from that race, bullied you or was an awful person to you. So deal with your trauma, and if you ever catch yourself in that moment of judging someone before you even actually get to know them, ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? Number 2, parents. It is your sole responsibility to instill
confidence.
Not only just confidence, but also teach your child to be accepting of everybody, regardless of race, sex, nationality, whatever the case may be. Teach your child to be inclusive. Usually, when you come from a family where you hear, because our children learn from what they see
the
us
people
doing.
around them.
So if they see us, the parent, mistreating persons with disability, they're going to think it's okay. Or making fun of people with a certain skin color, they're going to think that it's okay.
Yeah.
When we make comments like, oh, my daughter is pretty because she's lighter skinned than everybody else, your child is going to grow up, they're going to pick up on that and think that they are better than each other. So parents, set a better example. And don't judge people. Judge them after you've spoken to them. When they say, some things that are inappropriate, and when you judge them, go ahead to ask them, why do you think this way? You know, I think let's put in the time to actually get to
know and
understand each other. Why do you feel this way? It's not just a case of I don't just like you. No.
You got
There's
a
a lot
problem.
in that just.
In other words, go
Let's
ahead and
unpack
ask
it.
them, why do you eat like that? Why do you breathe
Shiva.
like that? I don't like the way you breathe.
Siobhan,
Yes.
this is actually a great conversation, but you can actually... It's a great conversation, ladies, and prejudice is a very, very broad topic, yeah? This is not something we can actually dissect in a few minutes. However, you're going to still follow this conversation on our social media platforms, and that's Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram with CTV Uganda, and you can actually stream on www.ctv.co.ug. More coming up from Sarah with Our Views. Do not blink.